So till now we have completed amino acid structure and function. We have already done with vitamins, and then we will be talking the last part of amino acid, that is amino acid disorders. And then with disorders I will talk with along with disorder I will talk about catabolism, because catabolism is very much related to the disorders are related to catabolism. Okay, so we will talk about disorder, and at the same time we will talk about catabolism along with disorder. We have done this slide. Amino acid catabolism especially occurs during prolonged fasting condition, just to revise. And then also when you take protein too much, then that condition also amino acid catabolism happens. And this amino acid catabolism, when it happens, so amino acid through transamination or deamination, the amino group is removed, and then what amino acid is left with is keto acid. So this is keto acid. Actually, when keto acid, this is also when keto acid, when it degrades, the intermediate can rise when there is disorder. When there is disorder, keto, this intermediate of organic acid, the chain can rise, and this is called organic acidemia. Okay, acidemia and aciduria. So these all organic acid, the keto acids of amino acid has to be converted into glucose. 18 amino acid, I have told you it will convert into glucose. Only 2 amino acid, that is leucine and lysine, they are purely ketogenic. They will produce ketone body only, leucine and isoleucine. And among these 18 glucogenic amino acids, there are 5 amino acids that will also produce ketone body. These are mainly aromatic amino acid, isoleucine, threonine. 3 aromatic amino acid and 1 isoleucine, other is threonine. They will produce ketone body also in addition to glucose. Okay. So this is the thing we have already been talking from the beginning. So you can see gluconeogenesis is fed by amino acid catabolism, and these are the amino acid that will feed gluconeogenesis, and it will be fed through Krebs cycle. So through this intermediate, this will join. So catabolism, this is the picture showing catabolism of this amino acid. You can see this all amino acid will be catabolized to pyruvate, and this pyruvate will convert into glucose. And then opposite is also true. Opposite is also there. So catabolism as well as synthesis, I will tell you. Synthesis of non-essential amino acid also happen opposite way, almost opposite way. From carbohydrate, it will happen from pyruvate, except this, because these are non-essential amino acids. This will not be synthesized. So cysteine, glycine, alanine, serine can be synthesized from pyruvate through this pathway. Okay. And then these amino acids, these 5 amino acids will join alpha ketoglutarate. Among these 5, this is essential, semi-essential, conditionally. This is also conditionally essential. Means it can be synthesized, but very less quantity. So this glutamine, glutamate, and then proline, this will catabolize into alpha ketoglutarate. The opposite is also true. So this alpha ketoglutarate will give rise to glutamate, proline, and then glutamine, glutamate, and proline. Now, from this glutamate, from this glutamate we have seen in urea cycle ornithine. So ornithine is synthesized. Okay, ornithine. And from ornithine, we have seen how ornithine converts into arginine in urea cycle. But the same thing will not be the same reaction will be there. But the reaction of synthesis of arginine does not happen in liver. As soon as arginine is synthesized in liver, it will be converted into urea and ornithine. But arginine synthesis happens in intestine and kidney. Okay, so this is the same way. From glutamate, arginine is synthesized. Same way, proline is also synthesized. This proline is also synthesized from this. And then you can see here, valine, it is essential amino acid, so it will not be synthesized. This is also not, this is also not, this is also not. So this is one-way traffic. Okay, so valine through propionic acid pathway, this all will convert into succinate. Here, this is non-essential amino acid, sorry, essential amino acid, and this is non-essential because of phenylalanine conversion by hydroxylation. So this is also one-way traffic. Now here, this is two-way traffic. So asparagine and aspartate can be converted back into this aspartate can convert into oxaloacetate. Oxaloacetate can be converted into aspartate. From aspartate, asparagine can be synthesized. So you have seen in overall of the catabolism and anabolism of amino acid, synthesis and degradation of amino acid. This is why I was telling this. I was discussing about this chart from the beginning. This, if you remember this, you will remember both catabolism and anabolism of amino acid in a nutshell view. You will understand almost all things. And then second important thing is that you have to understand that almost all amino acid will during catabolism undergoes transamination reaction. We have also done about this transamination reaction, second important thing. So this transamination reaction, I have discussed this transamination reaction. All transamination reaction has three features. So what is these three features? All require vitamin B6, one feature. Both all are reversible, second feature. And then third feature is either if you take one side, it will either require glutamate in one side or other side it will require glutamate. If glutamate is reactant, alpha ketoglutarate will be product. If alpha ketoglutarate is reactant, glutamate will be the product. So understand this. So these three will always be there: glutamate, glutarate, alpha ketoglutarate, and this is a reversible reaction. And then there are few amino acid which does not undergo transamination reaction. Okay, so I told you almost all amino acid undergoes transamination reaction. Okay, so you can see 15-16 amino acid undergoes transamination reaction, except few there are there. So you can remember this PASHT. So you can remember past, from past you can remember, you can put one H. So this is how you can remember. So P for proline, S for serine, histidine, H for histidine, and T for threonine. So this all amino acid actually undergo direct deamination. This is non-oxidative deamination. We have studied after transamination, all amino acid will transfer amino group to alpha ketoglutarate. It converts into glutamate, and glutamate will undergo oxidative deamination in liver. Okay, and then it will produce, what is oxidative means? It will produce NADH also. But here no production of NADH, direct actually breakdown of NH2 group. So this is non-oxidative. These all undergo non-oxidative deamination. So this is removal of amine. This is how all amino acid are, all this amine group is removed from amino acid. And then after this, catabolism happens, and through this it will join one of the intermediates of the Krebs cycle. And two amino acid, leucine and lysine, is not shown here. Lysine, they will form ketone body. Ketone body means they will form acetyl coenzyme A, and this acetyl coenzyme will form ketone body. So this is overview of amino acid catabolism. If you remember this, it is very easy to understand amino acid. So these are the important thing. You will so see wherever you see amino acid catabolism, these are the things, these are important about amino acid catabolism and disorder. Everything I have tried to put in one slide. So leucine catabolism, one thing is very important. You will see leucine catabolism is linked with vitamin B7, biotin. And because of vitamin B7 deficiency, there will be HIV, HIV is not HIV infection. This is hydroxyisovaleric acid. So we will see this also. Okay, at one place we will see this about which enzyme is involved in leucine catabolism, by which enzymes is actually involved. Which enzymes contain biotin that is involved in leucine catabolism, we will talk about. And because of deficiency of that enzyme and biotin will lead to this. We will see that. And then branch chain amino acid catabolism. This is very important. This is also branch chain amino acid leucine. So this is the most important of branch chain amino acid catabolism. relation of maple syrup urine disease. Maple syrup urine disease. We will talk the lysine and tryptophan catabolism is associated with glutaric acid dehydrogenase and glutaric aciduria. So glutaric aciduria you may find somewhere if you study. So I want you to know where this enzyme is, which amino acid catabolism is linked with this disorder, glutaric aciduria. It is lysine and tryptophan. I will show that also in slide. So now you can see this, you already know this is propionic acid pathway. These are the amino acid. In addition to amino acid, there are other O chain fatty acid, phytanic acid also will give propionic acid. Actually, source of propionic acid is amino acid plus fatty acids. Few fatty acids, O chain fatty acids, phytanic acids, and then cholesterol during bile synthesis also is the source of propionic acid. So this propionic acid, how it converts, you know very well. So sulfur containing amino acid catabolism, and that is what I told you in vitamin homocystinuria correlation. 3 sulfur containing amino acid, actually 2 standard amino acid, methionine and cysteine, and 1 is homocysteine. And we will talk about this homocystinuria in relation to this. Then phenylalanine catabolism. So this is also very important concept. So in phenylalanine catabolism, there are 2 important disorders: phenylketonuria and alkaptonuria. We will talk about these 2 disorders, and there is, we will actually mention tyrosinemia. 3 types of tyrosinemia we will mention only. And then, so there are phenylketonuria is associated with, there is non-classical type of phenylketonuria. Actually, this is associated with this phenylketonuria only. We will talk with this only. This is because of aromatic amino acid dehydroxylase deficiency. So we will have to talk about aromatic amino acid. What are aromatic amino acid hydroxylases? Now tryptophan metabolism, you know, pellagra. So pellagra, you know, malignant carcinoid syndrome. We have already done this. Okay. So I will not talk about this right now. So tryptophan, I have to mention that tryptophan metabolism is related to what? It is related to pellagra, malignant carcinoid syndrome. Vitamin B6 deficiency also is actually related to this tryptophan conversion into niacin. Hartnup disease is related to tryptophan absorption. Glutaric acidemia, you can see somewhere, this is related to tryptophan metabolism. So whatever disorder is related to, I have mentioned that only here. So laboratory test, we will talk about some laboratory tests. These laboratory tests are here. So in short, if you remember here, hydroxyindole acetic acid. So where I have mentioned this, actually I have already talked about this hydroxyindole acetic acid. It is nothing but breakdown product of serotonin. Serotonin converts into this HIAA, you know, I for indole, and serotonin also has indole. So this is how you can remember. Indole, it has got also got indole ring. Indole is this ring. This ring, it has got indole ring. So this is indolamine. Serotonin is indolamine, and this is hydroxyindole acetic acid. Now, homovalenic acid and valinal VMA, valinal mandelic acid. These are breakdown product of, this is breakdown product of dopamine. Dopamine, this is breakdown product of what we call is epinephrine and norepinephrine. So these 2 are product of catecholamines. So these are the important thing I have listed here. We will talk about in this 2 classes. Today's class and next class. So you can see these are the very important. First, I am discussing about this. Okay, laboratory. These are laboratory parameters. Just remember, this hydroxyindole acetic acid will be high in, this hydroxyindole acetic acid is high in which condition? In carcinoid syndrome. Carcinoid syndrome. Okay, in carcinoid syndrome. This HVA and VMA. So you know, pheochromocytoma, MEN2. Actually, MEN2 is also associated with this. So MEN2 and this, they will have very high amount of this epinephrine, and you will see in urine, you will see very high amount of VMA. So from this valinal mandelic acid, actually you will diagnose the patient having high epinephrine secretion. You can, this is how you can also diagnose. So this is diagnostic parameter, laboratory test for doing. VMA is the laboratory test for finding out concentration of, high concentration of norepinephrine. Now, in certain condition, you will see, we will talk about that. This is low. This is low. So this will also be low. So this means this. Just remember, epinephrine means epinephrine and norepinephrine means VMA. Okay. Then dopamine means HVA. Hemovaleric acid. Dopamine is high. Then this will become high. If dopamine is low, this will become low. So dopamine means HVA. Remember that. Okay. So this is, you can see dopamine, product of dopamine is homoval. This is HBA, you can see here. Methylation and then carboxylation. So this is acetic acid. You can see similar structure here. HBA. This is HBA. And then this catabolized product of this epinephrine and norepinephrine is what? VMA. Just only one difference you can see in these two molecules. Only one difference is here. You see in HVA, you don't see any. Actually, sorry, this and this. I was comparing different things. So you don't see hydroxyl group here, and we have already studied the synthesis of from dopamine hydroxylation converts epinephrine. So only hydroxyl group is different, is not there. That's the difference. Otherwise, both molecule VMA and VA are same. So if you remember the structure of this, you will remember the structure of this also. So one ring on one ring there is changes. One change you can see here, methyl addition. Here also methyl addition, and there will be oxidation here. That is the difference you will see. So oxidizing enzyme you will see, methyl transferase enzyme you will see one methyl transferase. You will see oxidase enzyme, monoamine oxidase enzyme you will see here, oxidase and methyl transferase. Very simple. Methyl transferase, two types of methyl transferase you will see, and oxidase, and here you will see monooxygenase here. So oxidase and methyl transferase will convert this. Very simple. So nitrogen balance is one concept. I just want to give you that. See, I told you this on non-essential amino acid. Non-essential amino acids can be synthesized from glucose. Okay, but you can synthesize from glucose, but you need to take nitrogen. You need to take nitrogen in the form of other essential amino. That is why what is important here is nitrogen. And that is why this is not called amino acid balance. It is called nitrogen balance. Because nitrogen has to be there to form non-essential amino acid also. In addition to that, essential amino acid, complete amino acid with nitrogen has to be taken. Even you take in non-essential ketone body, ketone. So your body has ability to convert this ketone into, by adding nitrogen, or your body has capability to convert this into essential amino acid. So that is why amino group becomes very important, and therefore we call it nitrogen balance. Not nitrogen balance simply means actually protein balance of your body. You have to remember this thing. But why we call nitrogen balance actually is giving an insight to metabolism, because for metabolism nitrogen is required. So nitrogen is exchanging. So this is why this is called nitrogen balance. You can see positive nitrogen balance. We have done few things where conditionally essential amino acids are required. These are called positive nitrogen balance. You will see where growth. Okay, positive nitrogen balance. Other places you will see when you do exercise, bodybuilding, sometimes bodybuilding. So in such cases, positive nitrogen balance. You actually desire positive nitrogen balance. You desire it. This is healthy condition. And then in pregnancy, in lactation, in certain other condition, you will see positive nitrogen balance. Means your body is getting more nitrogen than excretion. So there will be excretion of nitrogen always, means amino acid around, excretion of amino acid around 100 gram of this amino acid. Just remember like that, 100 gram of protein is being excreted. So I have made it round figure so that you will remember. Now daily you take 100 gram of protein. So it is also round figure. So when you take equal amount of protein that is excreted, it is called zero nitrogen balance. It is in homeostasis. But in certain condition, in adult condition, especially when you don't require that much of protein, your body is in, at least maintain your body in zero nitrogen balance. Okay. But when some problem happens, disease happens, okay, old age, okay, old age, disease, old age, other condition, other, this is normal disease, you can see other febrile condition, other diseases, but there are protein energy malnutrition, okay, Kwashiorkor and marasmus. So in such condition, you will see negative nitrogen balance. That means your excretion is more, you are in a debt, but intake is low, excretion is more. But when there is intake is more, this is called positive. Your body has more nitrogen than is excreted. Negative means your body has less nitrogen, intake is less than excreted. So these are negative nitrogen balance. This is positive nitrogen balance. So I have this made this 100 and 100, and again third 100 you will take at it as your pool. Amino acid pool is about 100 gram. So this 100 I have given so that you will memorize things. So 100 intake, 100 excretion, and 100 amino acid pool. Amino acid pool. So amino acid pool is 100, and this is 80. But we always call, I have given so that you will, if you remember 100, you will remember everything. Okay, amino acid pool. Memorizing this amino acid pool is important. Amino acid is not stored. Why I'm telling you this amino acid pool? Your body has 100 gram of amino acid in your pool, means blood, in cells, everywhere. But this amino acid, 100 gram of amino acid, it is not a storage form. It is like, it is something like a storage, but it is not actually storage form. It is the mobile form that is present around your compartments, cellular compartments, extracellular compartments. These are this amino acid. So amino acid is not stored, simple things, and it is actually present in the form of pool. For some time, if you don't take amino acid, this pool will compensate for that. But in long run, if you don't take enough protein, so what will happen? Your body will go into negative nitrogen balance. Did you understand this nitrogen balance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can go through this negative nitrogen balance and positive nitrogen balance. You can see I have listed the condition, and this actually I have taken snapshot from your Kaplan. So you can go through this so that you can understand. These are important things. Okay, marasmus is chronic deficiency of calorie. Patient do not present with edema. As do Kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor has both edema plus energy deficiency, protein and energy deficiency. Here only it is chronic calorie deficiency. So you can study yourself. So my main objective is to make you understand what is nitrogen balance. So these are the disorders that are listed in your first aid. You can see phenylketonuria, maple syrup urine disease, alkaptonuria, and homocystinuria. Now I will first choose to go for homocystinuria. Okay, there are a couple of reasons. So you know this seems to be a little bit complicated, but it's not, because we have done too many. We have been building our foundation for homocystinuria. So we have done the homocystinuria vitamins associated with homocystinuria, B6, B9, and then B12.
Dr.
So yes.
I have a question. Is this going to come on the formative quiz?
No, it is not going to come out in formative quiz. Okay. And it is not like, I will tell you, it is not ethical to give you these all questions.
Okay, thanks.
And if even if I had give you formative, it would have been practice, no problem. But I'm not going to give. It is not there in. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So this B6, B9, and B12, these vitamins, associated with homocystinuria. And what enzyme is associated with homocystinuria? Of this, we have already told you. This methionine synthesis is involved with this, and methionine synthesis is cytosolic enzyme. There is second. This is megaloblastic, M function of vitamin B12, and there is M function of vitamin B12 that is related to MMM, methylmalonyl mutase. It is a mitochondrial enzyme. So we are talking about this. We know methionine synthase also, because methionine is sulfur containing. This is also sulfur containing. This is how you can remember. Methionine synthase is associated with homocystinuria. This is methionine synthesis part of. With this only methionine synthase only, what is related? Homocyst. What is related? Megaloblastic anemia. So you can see if there is this homocystinuria is because of vitamin B12, there will be presence of homocystinuria plus megaloblastic anemia. If it is because of this, so there will be homocystinuria and also megaloblastic anemia, because folate is directly related to megaloblastic anemia. There will be, but if it is related to this B6, there will be homocystinuria, not megaloblastic anemia. So you can, if you understand the concept, you can easily correlate this all concept together. Okay. So you can, let's see this, what is there in homocystinuria, then we will progress to other disorder. So we have seen cystathionine beta synthase, cystathionine synthase deficiency. We have done this. So we will explain. If you have a foundation, it will be easier for me to explain it. So here you can see methionine is low. So don't give methionine, it is treatment. Here in this condition, both methionine is high and homocysteine is high. In other condition, other folate B12 and this, methionine will be low, homocysteine will be high, methionine will be low in other condition. We will talk about that. So this treatment has been written here. So treatment is important. I will talk about those treatment. So lower methionine, because methionine is not metabolized. Give cysteine, because cysteine is produced from methionine. So cysteine here becomes essential, because cysteine is not forming from methionine. So B6, give B6, okay, because this is B6 containing enzyme. So give B6 and other vitamin also, B12 and folate also. And low affinity of cystathionine beta synthase also can cause, okay, low affinity of this. And then in that condition also give vitamin B6 in a high quantity. And methionine synthase, I told you methionine synthase is also related to that. Vitamin B12 is related to vitamin B12, and both B9 is related to methionine synthase. B6 is related to this. We have done that. Now this B12 homocysteine will be high, okay, homocysteine in such condition. So methyl, this enzyme deficiency, MTH, okay, FR. So methylene tetrahydrofolate, THF. So just isolated this tetrahydrofolate, you don't know this, add M before and R last. So this is methylene tetrahydrofolate and reduct, MTHFR, THFR. So methionine tetrahydrofolate reductase. So this is the reaction that is given there. We have already run this reaction. Homocysteine to cysteine is formed. So all result in excess homocystinuria, increased homocysteine urea, osteoporosis, Marfanoid syndrome. These are the presentation. Ocular changes, downward and inward subluxation of your this disc lens of the eye. Cardiovascular, increased thromboembolic episodes are there. Intellectual disabilities in homocystinuria, lens sublux downward, Marfan upward. So this contrast is also important. In Marfan, lens is dislocated upward. This is so. That is why let's talk first about homocystinuria. We have already done the concept. We have already done the revision. Let's see. We will talk now in detail. So see the case. An 8-year-old boy was rushed to emergency with severe retroesternal chest pain. Okay, patient's parents told that the child already has undergone lens replacement surgery. Okay, because of lens subluxation, dislocation. The patient has lower height and weight in comparison to child of his age. So growth retardation, failure to thrive, distorted chest, look like Marfanoid habitus. Patient lipid profile came to be within normal limit. So lipid profile is not raised. That is why this chest pain is not because of high lipid profile. It is maybe because of this presentation, lower height and then malformed habitus. And then patient's C troponin T was high. Troponin is high means myocardial infarction. So you will study the diagnostic. You must have studied diagnostic criteria of myocardial infarction in your TBL in first year in MD1 only. So myocardial infarction, when troponin is high, that means this patient is pain, means physical symptoms plus one biochemical parameter. If it is high, almost diagnosis is done. ECG is also consistent with myocardial infarction. So myocardial infarction is done. And then his homocysteine level is more than 100. And methionine is also very high. You can see homocysteine is 100 and methionine is also high. So if homocysteine is very high, this is because of homocysteinuria. Okay. So what is the diagnosis? Okay. So diagnosis is because of it is homocysteinuria. Cystinuria. And I told you if both are high, so this homocysteinuria is most probably because of cystathionine beta synthase. If both methionine is high, homocysteine is high, then it is most probably because of cystathionine beta synthase. What is the laboratory finding suggestive of diagnosis? You can see these two are the laboratory finding. Homocysteine is also high, methionine is also high. These are, and then you can see supportive is like in homocysteinuric patient, it has got thromboembolic episodes, and because of that there is myocardial infarction. So these two are, you can see this homocysteine and methionine is a very strong indicator. Other laboratory finding, you go for B12 profile, megaloblastic anemia, and then you do that everything, you rule out other problem, and you actually find out is it because of B12 or folate. So in folate comes under B12 profile only. I have already given you what are the B12 profile. So you can go for that B12 profile. So explain the biochemical pathway and discussed laboratory finding involved in these types of other disorders. There should be other. So other disorders, that is because of vitamin B12 and folate. We'll talk about that. So which drug would have prevented this episode? So what is the drug? So drug is here is vitamin B6 in high dose. High dose. Okay. So if vitamin B6 is given in high dose, this could have been prevented. So let's see this. You know what is homocysteine and homocysteine. So when we talk homocysteinuria, so this is cysteine dimer. Okay. This is dipeptide. When we talk about homocysteinemia, it is amino acid. Remember that difference. And this amino acid is homocysteine. Okay, classical homocystinuria. Let's talk about the presentation. It is autosomal recessive disorder. Most common form. Okay, this is the most common form. This is the most common form that we have discussed right now, and it is called classical homocystinuria. Anything most common are called classical. So this is classical homocystinuria is caused by reduced activity of this enzyme cystathionine beta synthase. The worldwide incidence is approximately 1:3 lakhs. It is very low incidence, but again this becomes very important. According to this is very less incidence is low, but again this becomes very important because in Qatar has very high prevalence incidence. It is 1:1800. So see this. So mild homocystinuria you can call mild, moderate, and severe. So mild homocystinuria, you can see the less than 15 is normal, and mild is below 15, between 15, below 30, below 15, between 15 to 30. Moderate means 30 to 100, and severe means more than 100. So this is the case of severe homocystinuria. You can say this is the case of severe homocystinuria. Homocysteine level is very high. He means severe homocysteinemia. Okay. So this is the cause and we have classified this homocystinuria. Now let's see what is the presentation. Presentation involves your, in such patient presentation, as I have told you, you have seen in case lens dislocation. What is downward dislocation of lens? So this homocystinuria has downward dislocation of lens, and then Marfan syndrome has upward. Homocystinuria has downward dislocation of lens. So ophthalmic problem is this: lens is dislocated downward. Generally, it appears in childhood only, 3 to 5 years. And then because of that, there will be myopia, short-sightedness. So bone abnormality involved this osteoporosis, okay, pectus excavatum, marphonoid habitus. These are the bone presentation. So brain, what will happen? Mental retardation is associated with brain, and psychiatric behavioral changes, psychiatric disturbances. So this is related to bone, brain, eye, and then CBS. So you can BBCE. You can remember this mnemonics, or if you, it is easy to remember through the picture. Okay, through the picture. So CBS is actually thromboembolic episodes. So clotting factor are very active. Actually, the coagulation is very high. So thromboembolic episode rather than your atherosclerosis, thromboembolic episode is the reason for this cardiovascular presentation. Okay, involvement of heart or vessels has been seen in children in first decade, and major cause of morbidity. So it will appear before third decade. You can see before third decade. It is one, and generally it appears in first decade only, before third decade. And see the age, 8-year-old. So first decade it is seen, but it will appear before 30s. So you can see this thromboembolic episodes. It can cause myocardial infarction, stroke, and then downward dislocation of this lens. Deep vein thrombosis is also thromboembolic episodes. It will cause swelling of calf muscle, excavatum, marphonoid habitus. Okay, so these are the presentation you will see and can occur during, so life-threatening complication in coronary, renal, cerebral arteries can occur during first decade of life and are major cause of morbidity and mortality. Okay, so you understood the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Now we will talk about the pathogenesis. You know this pathogenesis. So actually we talked about this picture. Here, you know, the homocysteine is the center of focus. Okay, homocysteine either goes towards its renewal, or it will go towards its catabolism. Renewal or catabolism. There are two pathways for homocysteine. Any of it is blocked, so it will become high. So let's see in more comprehensive picture, through this more comprehensive picture. Everything I've included on this picture. You will understand more. So this is the center of focus, homocysteine. This is homocysteine. Okay. So you can see homocysteine is also sulfur. And this is also the actually slide of sulfur containing amino acid metabolism. Remember that. So what happened? Homocysteine either go uphill process for synthesis, is renewal, or downhill degradation. Uphill renewal or downhill degradation. Degradation means synthesis of cysteine. So uphill process is this. Here in downhill process, what will happen? Degradation. Let's first talk about degradation. What will happen? This is called transsulfuration reaction. You can see this transsulfuration reaction. The vitamin B6 cystathionine beta synthesis with it will cystathionine beta synthesis will come. This is called cystathionine beta, in beta cystathionine, this compound. So this compound is formed by actually cysteine and homocysteine and serine. And I've told you this carbon of this serine will form carbon of cysteine, and sulfur group will be transferred from this methionine because methionine by methionine through homocysteine. You can see this from methionine to homocysteine. So this is the process. You can see this is the process of synthesis. Take this process right from here down to cysteine. So right from here to down to cysteine. So homocysteine, actually you are getting homocysteine from methionine only. So this methionine actually giving rise to homocysteine through degradative pathway. First methionine converts into SAM. You know, SAM is very important molecule, methyl donor. And this methyl is donated, and this will SH, acid-inyl homocysteine. Homocysteine will result because of hydrolysis. And this homocysteine will combine with serine. It will form cystathionine beta synthase. Now this will break here by lyase, cystathionine gamma lyase. So this is what? Alpha. This is alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay, cystathionine beta synthase will cause cystath. At gamma, it will be broken down. So this becomes cysteine. So this is called transsulfuration reaction, two-step, one and two-step reaction. This transsulfuration reaction will transfer of sulfur group from homocysteine to serine. This becomes cysteine. So this is transsulfuration. This is synthesis of cysteine also. And then you can see this is actually degradation of methionine also. Utilization here, utilization of methionine through SAM, and this is then homocysteine is degraded to cysteine, and formation of cysteine both through transsulfuration reaction. You have seen this degradation of this to this. Now let's see. There is one option for this homocysteine to renewal option for homocysteine. So homocysteine again will convert into methionine, and for conversion renewal process it requires two vitamins. What vitamins? So this will go, this will go into beta oxidation to propionic acid pathway. Propionic acid will produce and propionic acid pathway. Now you can see through homocysteine, if it has to regenerate, so it need to get this methyl group. Where does it get from methyl group? It gets methyl group from this tetrahydrofolate. I told you this methyl tetrahydrofolate actually transfer methyl group through a long pathway. Actually, this methyl group is this methyl group that is transferred to creatine. Creatine. We have done that. Creatine, then catecholamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and last is DNA methylation. So this so this rejuvenation will take these two vitamins, and the enzyme here is methionine synthesis. Here enzyme is cystathionine beta synthase. Here methionine synthase. So this methionine synthase transfer this methyl group from this to this, require vitamin B12 also. So now if you talk about the homocysteinuria, what will happen? If there is blockade here, degradation, then also this will rise. Okay, this will rise. And then if rising of homocysteine will also cause rise of this. So that is why in such condition both will rise. In homocysteinuria, homogeneous rise, you can call, in classical homogeneous rise, you can call it. Here, no, these are non-classical type. When there is any problem in vitamin B12 metabolism, then also it will cause blockade. When there is mutation in this methionine synthase, then also there will be blockade. When there is any problem in metabolism of vitamin, this folate also, then also there will be blockade. So this renewal pathway require many things, and there is a many chance of mutation, but the most common is this mutation. Don't confuse with that. And this seems to be complicated, and believe me, it is not complicated if you remember in a sequence. If you remember in a way, if you focus on homocysteine degradation pathway, if it is blocked, only one. Homocysteine synthesis will require many things, B12 and MTHR. So we will talk first about this, then along with that, we'll talk about vitamin B12, this and this, all this. Methionine synthase, MTHFR. MTHFR means methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. MTHFR, methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. So we will Now, the one very important thing. Now, did you understand till now? Sulfur containing amino acid metabolism. If there is any problem, let me know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you understood? Degradation and synthesis. Degradation, you know. One problem in degradation. This will classic. And then if there is problem, three types of problem happens here. If there is this problem, this will be different type of homocystinuria. In such condition, you will see this will be high. But when any of this is absent, this will be high, but this will be low. So this is the basic difference between degraded this cystathionine beta synthase deficiency and this all deficiencies. Now, if there is a problem in all this pathway, there is alternative pathway that can actually from that pathway this, let's remove, from that this homocysteine will get methyl group here and convert into methionine. There is alternative pathway than this pathway, So this pathway is called betaine. Betaine is glycine with, this is nothing but this is this type of molecule. This is glycine with 3 methyl group here is betaine. So when one methyl group is transferred here, this becomes dimethyl glycine. That's it. So betaine is one pathway. So whenever disorder in this happens, so betaine is used as treatment modalities. And that is why this is treatment modalities. So one point is degradation. Second point is synthesis. You have to remember this degradation. You have to involve all. And second point you have to renewal. And third is treatment. So this 3 overall category, if you can divide, you will understand disorder better. Now I will tell you this cycle here, conversion of this methionine into homocysteine, homocysteine into methionine. This cycle is called activated methyl cycle or methionine cycle, MC or activated methionine cycle. So you know folate trap, you know what is folate trap, and I have explained transsulfuration reaction. So here we have done this sulfur containing amino acid catabolism and causes of homocystinuria. Now once let's see this, revise this B12 metabolism, because you know B12, if there is any problem in this B12 metabolism, it will also cause homocystinuria. So B12 catabolism, just revise it, you already know. So there first protein, first starting protein, this BCD will be involved. If there is problem in B, C or D, there will be in body, there will be a rise in homocysteine. This is, I told you, M category, this is N category. So all M category will be rise. So what is megaloblastic anemia plus homocysteine will rise. And also this N category, both N plus N will happen here. So presentation of N plus N. So now when there is problem in this of the problem. So how can you remember? So this protein is remembered from A through H. First and last you put for this. Then forget about this. Now what is remain is B, C, D, E, F, G. You put B, C, D for the first. So B, C, D and E, F, G for this. That's it. So B, C, D, if there is involvement of B, C, D of protein, there will be involvement of both. If there is involvement of this E, F, G, there will be only M symptoms, not N. If there is involvement of this, there will be only N, not M. In such condition, there will not be homocystinuria. No homocystinuria. So homocystinuria is associated with B, C, D, E, F, G. So B to G. Okay. Here N will also be present here without N. So understand from this picture. Now let's see this homocystinuria type. So we have done this type, very important type, cystathionine beta synthesis, homocysteine degradation. Okay, so CBS, there is cysteine formation. Okay, so this is defective. Then there will be methionine, upper is methionine. Here B12, B9 is associated. So if there is deficiency in this, what will happen? This will rise, and this homocysteine can go and convert into methionine. This will also rise. So both will rise, homocysteine and methionine both will rise. But here you can see the problem in B9 metabolism, folate metabolism. What will happen? So this is blocked. If this is blocked, this will become rise. Obviously, homocysteine will become rise. But what about methionine? Methionine is not forming, so methionine will become low. Now again, so this protein are involved in vitamin B12 metabolism. G and E are present here. G and E are present here. So what will happen as a result? This pathway will again be blocked. If this pathway is blocked, so what will happen? Homocysteine will be high, but methionine is low. Methionine is low, same as this. But because vitamin B12 is involved here, this protein are involved here, G and E, this protein, G and E, these are involved, G and E are involved. So what will happen in such condition? This homocystinuria is associated with megaloblastic anemia. Okay, megaloblastic anemia. So remember that there will be additional associated presentation is megaloblastic anemia and folate trap. So M only will be there. And in such condition, if C and D are associated, so what will happen? There will be megaloblastic anemia plus neuropathy will also be there. Okay, and will also be there. Neuropathy will also be there. And methylmalonic acid will also be high. So homocysteine will be high, methylmalonic, again methionine, because of this blockade, methionine will be low. So did you understand this table? Yes?
Yes, sir.
I am trying to go in a very good detail so that you will never have confusion. Now let's talk about treatment. So if you know this chart right now, if you know nicely this picture, just memorize this GeoBack, put this whole scenario in the imagination like this. So degradation, downward degradation, upward synthesis. So downward a blockade. So what happens? Upward blockade, what will happen? Water present and the upward process. So and then you will easily understand everything. So you will easily answer everything. You can see here cystathionine beta synthesis. If homocysteine converted into cysteine, methionine. So CBS. So if this is deficient, what will happen? Cysteine will be low. So you have to supplement cysteine because cysteine is not being formed from methionine. So you have to supplement cysteine. Cysteine supplementation. Methionine is already high because this is high. So you don't keep methionine. Too much methionine will become toxic. And see, generally disorder happens because of this enzyme lose its capacity to bind pyridoxine. So what will happen if you give pyridoxine in 50% of condition? 50% of condition, such disorder, what will happen? The enzyme actually lose the capacity to bind pyridoxal phosphate. And because of that, high dose pyridoxal phosphate in such case will treat the disease. Okay. So this pyridoxal phosphate, B6 is associated. So give B6. So this supplement cysteine, high dose BC and avoid methionine. So this is the treatment of this first type of disorder. Second type of disorder, you will see second, third, and fourth, because vitamin B12, this is B12 and folate related. And you know this, I told you the treatment here. This B10 can bypass this all. So what is the treatment here for this disorder? You give folate. For this disorder, you give folate. and then B10 if this MTHFR are deficient. For this disorder, you give B10 and folate. For this disorder, you give B12 folate. Also for this, also give B10. Okay, I forgot to mention here. Give B10. All this require B10. But I have mentioned here folate. But in general practice, what is done? You don't go for folate or like that. You give B12 folate here also, and here also you supplement B6 because these vitamins are non-toxic. You supplement this vitamin everywhere. So B6, okay, B12 and B9, supplement all. Here if you specifically diagnose this, so this B6 will treat this. But remember the pathogenesis and you will understand the treatment. B10 is required here only. And actually in normal condition, B10 is supplemented here also because B10 is also not that toxic. So these are the treatment. What are the treatment? Treatment B6, B12, B9, and B10. B10. And what you need to avoid? Low methionine, especially in this condition. In other condition, methionine is, don't give methionine here, but here methionine is low. So you may require methionine here, but not here. Anyway, methionine supplementation has to be low because anyway methionine is catabolizing to homocysteine. So methionine supplementation should be low in all conditions, especially here.